Since the turn of the century, Vasyl Lomachenko has been one of the most entertaining and talked about fighters in the sport of boxing. High tech is something like a contradiction, not one for words and pre-fight pressers. He doesn't hold anything back once he steps in the ring. The guy dominates his opponents both mentally and physically, and he's not afraid to show off his skills. For anyone who dares to get cocky, Loma won't hesitate to unload an arsenal of tricks and insult his opponents while he's at it. Whether it is an intimidation tactic or just Loma being Loma, his methods usually work. Along with his counterpart Usyk, Loma's unique fighting style and charismatic personality has helped to repaint the image of the Ukrainian fighter, putting him up there with the likes of Prince Nassim and Roy Jones Jr. Here are a few of Lomachenko's best showboating moments. But before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe below. Loma vs. Kovalev Rodriguez. Loma has an unmatched amateur record and a few spectacular wins to start his pro career, but he rose to another level in his fight against Gammy Rodriguez. A whole new Loma was born that night, and as the fight progressed, he came into his own. As Rodriguez keeps grabbing Loma, you'll see Loma spin him in circles, mocking Rodriguez's technique while at the same time showing that it isn't going to work. Loma also got frustrated with Rodriguez's low blows, intentionally throwing one back at Rodriguez to get the ref's attention. In the end, it was Rodriguez who took a knee, surrendering to Loma's dominance.
Punches thrown by Rodriguez have left up the right hooks.
Loma vs. Romulo Kosica. There was a specific moment where Loma taunted Kosica, but in this fight, it's obvious that Loma's confidence is through the roof. He's theatrical and effective to equal measure, unleashing a variety of classic tricks and distraction tactics, virtually having his way with Kosica. Loma had some Sugar Ray Leonard in him that night, too. He made a statement with his display of power and skill, but it was the following fight that rose him to superstar status. Loma vs. Romain Martinez. Loma was elusive, powerful, and dominated virtually every round of his fight against Martinez, winning by knockout in round 5. But it was what came after that surprised viewers as he landed a front handspring into a backflip. Nice.
Flip to boot! Lomachenko!
Loma vs. Nicholas Walters. Loma even had the guts to drop his hands against the Axeman Nicholas Walters. Just before the mid-fight bell, you'll see Loma drop his stance and just stare at Walters. Loma showed he had no fear and showed the world Walters would not engage with him even if given the chance. And keep in mind, Loma did this against a guy nicknamed the Axeman, one of the division's biggest punchers at the time. Loma vs. Jason Sosa. Jason Sosa made the mistake of taunting Lomachenko towards the end of a round. After that, Loma had a field day. He did everything from his usual spins to mocking Sosa after landing a heavy right to the body. But what came next was something that tickled the crowd, as Loma gave Sosa the Matador treatment, suggesting Sosa couldn't touch him as he waved an invisible red Matador cape, mocking him like a bullfighter. But the worst part is Sosa did just that. He fell into Loma's trap immediately. Sosa tried to respond with some quick punches and missed, causing Lomachenko to taunt him even further. Now, Sosa is one tough dude, but in the end, he was simply outclassed by Loma's unique style. Loma vs. Miguel Mariaga. A lot of fighters talk trash, but very few back it up, and even fewer back it up immediately. In this fight, you'll see Loma mirroring Mariaga's defense and throwing up his hands, as if to say, "What is that?" Loma then throws a well-timed and devastating 7-punch combo that puts Mariaga on the canvas. Mariaga rises from knockout, and what does Loma do? He puts his back against a neutral corner and waves in Mariaga. The level of confidence in the display is unreal, but once again, Loma backs it up. Loma dances, taunts, and repeatedly asks Mariaga to engage in a position that would leave most fighters vulnerable, but not Loma. With the above in mind, Loma has had plenty of fights where he showed a ton of respect to his opponents. But unfortunately, this side of Loma taught him a dear lesson in his latest bout against Lopez, after the bigger man allowed none of it.